Well, I have my eyes wide open, I hope, all the time. And I think there's certain ironies in how we think we're living and how we're really living. I remember saying to someone, oh, I never wanted to have a camera in my hand because I always thought it would distance me from being in the middle of whatever was going on. If there were a party, a discussion, a gathering, I really wanted to be living in the middle of it and being a part of it, and that the camera and the lens was distancing, and I was not interested in ever having a camera in my hand. But in fact, what happens as the artist is that one becomes an observer, and one is always slightly removed. One is always observing. There's always that internal voice going, taking notes, watching gestures, responding to all those other things that one's sort of putting away, so that afterwards things are replayed, almost like rerunning a film or a video, in fact. I was a young, early feminist, of course. I was a feminist, and so I was watching, and I was watching very defined roles in society, in how one behaved, in behavior, in interactions, in what was allowed one and not the other. And so these became, in a sense, symbols, shorthand. I'm interested in notions of strength, power, acquiescence, service, servitude. and so an interest in waitresses, in waiting, and an interest in dependency, compulsions, human frailty. My parents had a tiny little condo, and a small carnival would come and set up right in front of them on the blacktop every year for a weekend. And it was the funkiest little carnival. They had like 3 rides, they had a fire truck, the police would come and they'd have the police dog. So I had spent a lot of years thinking about carnival, about the other world, the transitory state of the carnival coming, the excitement, that false glitter. So this relates to interests I have in the traveling circus, in the wanderer, people who are perhaps outside society or no longer connected to families and communities, but have formed their own community, that they're a world unto themselves. I actually had some people over just yesterday evening, and I was engaged in a conversation, but I heard them standing here and talking about this painting, in particular this section, and wondering about the child who's purchasing admission to the carnival and totally painted out. And they were sort of trying to figure out, like, why and how, and, you know, what's this about and what does it mean? And I'm really, I'm so interested in groups and in access, and access being denied, that you really can't understand. You can't understand really a community to which you do not belong, a couple where you're outside, no one knows really what's happening inside a marriage, and even another individual you really do not know and have access. And all about where we have our borders, where we can cross, where we can't really cross, what we think what payment is enough? Well, no payment. Thank you for that payment. You may think you understand us, you have access, we will entertain you, but indeed, we're protecting ourselves, and you do not have entry to that. you know, it's like I'll think, oh God, this is really great. And I go home and I go, okay, you know, it's all done for the night. I can sleep. And then in the morning I open my eyes and I go, what happened here? This isn't what I saw before I fell asleep. You know, it's just, we become so enamored. All of a sudden we go, oh my God, you know, why didn't I see this? This is all wrong. This isn't working. This isn't there. No, it's a constant, it's a constant engagement. Everything is shifting and changing all the time. It's always new. Over a period of time, I shifted from a very playful engagement with my subject matter, which was very colorful and bright. And it's not that it wasn't socially aware and critical, but it had a lightness. You could still breathe when you looked at those paintings. And with time, I tried more and more to have painting which followed a kind of stream of consciousness, which could encompass both the history and the memory, the action that preceded, where we were in the moment, what might come after, and I wanted it all together. I wanted it all there. And it became darker and layered, more complex, and eventually very claustrophobic, so that any particular image, in fact, wasn't just a single image or a period in time or one spatial locality, but the whole history of each figure in that painting